there's water.
This is worse. It's definitely tight here.
Hi, let's get straight to the point. Can I at least get my 69 Mustang started today? Just for a few seconds, at least. This is my third and final try to get this Mustang started. You guys have a lot of faith in me. I don't, but I really hope that I can deliver and get this started for you. Like I said, maybe just a few seconds. A lot of you have suggested a lot of new advice, so that's what I'm going to attempt today. I have a new battery. You guys did suggest this before my second video, so I ignored it. I thought, you know, I have a jump starter and it'll be fine, but I'm taking your advice. We are going to try a new battery. And I also have carb cleaner, so I'm going to spray it. I'm gonna spray the carburetor instead of pouring fuel when I'm trying to start it. So these two and of course fuel. A lot of you were telling me that I didn't time the distributor correctly, that I was like about 180 degrees off. So I retimed it, but now it's pointing more towards that way. It's still not pointing directly at the first cylinder, but we're closer than we were before. I also still used the old battery just to rotate the engine and get it to the compression stroke, and I also used a ratchet just to dial it in. So like I said before, we're still not at 1. We are pointed towards this way, so we're closer than we were before, so let's just go ahead and try it. Honestly, I really want to be excited, but it's already been twice already that it doesn't start, so if it still doesn't, or I mean, you know what, regardless of the outcome, I'm still not going to be disappointed. Let's remove this battery and get the new one in, and then reconnect the remote starter. Then we can set up the fuel. I kind of feel like this is deja vu, like I'm doing this for nothing, but I mean, we're not. The engine is still coming out, and you know, at least I want to say I tried. I tried 3 times. I really hate going inside here because I know there's like a million spiders. It really freaks me out. If only you can feel my heart RPMs. So do I just spray and pray, or do I pray and then spray? I think I'm just gonna spray. Here goes. Clearly it wants to, but still not there. So I do remember seeing some YouTube videos of people that they just kept pushing the throttle and then it started, but I only have 2 hands. So I'm just going to try to remote start it while pushing the throttle, and then Chris is gonna spray the carb, and let's see if it starts that way. Disappointed right now. It's almost there, so I just need to keep going. I think I'm just gonna add a little bit of fuel and then try this whole thing again. I don't know, this Mustang, I'm so confused. It's getting my hopes up, but then it just doesn't want to. It almost feels like the moment I let go of the remote starter, then it just stops. Third time was almost a charm. It really had me up there thinking that it was gonna start, but I feel like there's probably just something else. Maybe there is a compression issue. Chris even tried moving the distributor just to see if it was timing as I was moving the throttle and the remote starter, and he was spraying, and it just didn't. So I feel like it should have if there was no issues. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't, so it just didn't. So let's take out this engine. I don't know how many times I've drained the oil in this car, and it always comes out looking the same. Let's see if it's any different this time. Yeah, it's still a little bit milky, but just way less than before. I don't really know if this is where you would drain it, but I can't find any other way. So I'm just going to pull this hose, and then hopefully it doesn't make a mess, and it aims correctly. I spoke too soon. What a big mess. So I looked online, and there's no drain plug for the transmission fluid, so you just have to remove the pan and then take a transmission fluid shower. I'm kidding. So what I found is that, so pretty much I have to loosen up all the bolts equally and then loosen these here at the edge the most, so that the pan can tilt this way, and then most of the fluid comes out here, even though it's still going to probably make a mess everywhere else. And I don't have a good track record, so I tend to make messes with all these fluids. the gasket is pretty much holding the pan there because I feel like it probably would have loosened by now and probably fell a little bit. So I'm just going to evenly loosen these bolts, which just these front ones are missing. Then I can start prying it and then tilt it this way so we can make hopefully less of a mess. So if this little plastic tool doesn't work, then I'll just use a screwdriver. I don't think so. Here's my big screwdriver. Hopefully this works better. Oh. Okay, it's contained. Luckily, it's pretty small that I think it all fits here. That came out of nowhere. That looks like a chocolate shake or like chocolate milk. Let's remove these bolts completely, and then I'll work my way to the back so it can drop this way. At least most of it. I feel like I'm in Mission Impossible. This is an impossible mission because I'm going to make a mess. So the plan is to evenly remove these bolts. So 2 on this side and 2 on this side. Give it another push. Oh, this is coming out so easily. Ooh, looks like a melted sundae. There's water. And I don't know if this is supposed to come out this thick. This doesn't remind me of any other transmission fluid I've worked with in the past. So I'm assuming, there's an issue here too. We're almost there. Once I remove this one, we'll remove all of the ones from the side and only these 2 from the back are holding it. More water and more thick gunk. Okay, so now the last 2. Need to hold this. All right, here goes. Oh, wow, I'm proud of myself. Okay, the gasket's still there. This is what happens when you leave your ice cream outside on a hot Arizona day. If you're wondering why am I starting from the bottom, that's because the bulk of the stuff is from the bottom, like all that fluid that I needed to drain, and then there's more things that I need to remove, which I'll show you now. The exhaust and the drive shaft are coming off next. So I already sprayed PB Blaster on all of these bolts here in the back, and then also here where they connect to the headers. So hopefully that's a lot easier to remove. I also need to remove the headers, but I'll remove that after I remove the exhaust and the drive shaft. And I also sprayed some PB Blaster on the engine mount bolts, so I'll remove those as well. So once all of that is off, then we can start working on the top. I'm hoping this works the way I'm picturing it, because if it does, this will probably be like the easiest exhaust I've ever removed. And I love that. Okay, it is a little bit heavy. All right, let's pull it out. Woo! Okay, almost there. Just need to shoulder press this for a bit. Okay, yay! Ah! This is the easiest exhaust removal ever. I'm just going to jack this up and then see if I can kick that bolt out. All right, well, that idea failed, so let's try a hammer and a flathead and hit it from here. Oh, yes. There we go. I had the right idea. Okay. Oh, this one came off easier. All right, then. 69 exhaust off. Well, that exhaust came off easily. Let's see if the drive shaft comes out easily. If it does, then, this will be a piece of cake, at least compared to the Shelby. All right, that was pretty easy. I think I got it. Okay, it's off the clamp on this side. So maybe I should just remove this clamp completely. All right. Okay. All right. I feel like Superwoman. Maybe I need to hit it from the other side, so let me put it on this jack again. Wow, so it really wants you to use this hammer. Oh, did it. I feel so strong today. This is everything that was removed. I am happy. I'll take this. It didn't start, but at least this was off easily. So this is how it's looking now. And I mentioned the engine bolts earlier, but I'm actually going to leave them there Reason for that is because I don't know if the engine lift plate that I have will fit here. So what I'm going to do is just lower it and then check that first. If it does, then I can go ahead and remove them. So I've seen a few YouTube videos and some of them are doing like different things. One, they just remove like everything all at once. So the engine with the transmission, and they don't remove anything else, just it comes out in one piece. And then others where they like separate the transmission from the engine, then they remove like the starter. I am going to go for the first route because I think that's just the less steps. And in my mind, it seems a little bit easier. So I'm going to try that, just removing everything at once. But if I see that it's becoming an issue, it's becoming annoying, then I'll go ahead and try the other way and separate things. Whenever I look at this engine, it always reminds me of my failure, not only once, but 3 times. And I guess it'll forever remind me of that failure until I get it working. But honestly, I feel like there is something wrong with that engine because of all that water that was absolutely everywhere. We will get to the bottom of it because once I take it out, we will eventually crack it open. Not in this video, but we'll take it apart soon. Do you guys want to see the easiest radiator removal? Check this out. As soon as I can get this hose off. It's that easy. Was not on anything. Want to see the easiest accessory belt removal? Watch this. Bam! And it's off. So now this fan should be easy to remove. Okay, so now I'm just realizing maybe I should have left that belt on and first remove this. I did this in reverse. So, you know, now I see why this is dangerous. This is really sharp. So let me try to break this. Definitely wouldn't want to be near this fan when it's on, and I would definitely put my hair up. All right. Whew, that was a close call. Yes, and it's off. 3 for 1. These cables are loose because who wants to see me pull cables? So now it's time to pull this distributor, the pride and joy that I still don't know if I ever timed correctly. Now to remove the carb, which is pretty simple. I only removed the vacuum line, throttle line, fuel line, and there's just 4 bolts, 2 on each side. You know, I was just assuming that it can just pop up after I did that. But maybe I need to pry it out. Maybe there's more to that. You know, I'm gonna try prying it out. I don't see anything else that's holding it in place. Okay, all right. It's coming. Oh, we got it. This is the last step before I can check if the engine lift plate fits here. I just need to remove these bolts. You know, I don't really know what this is called, this cover. It kind of reminds me of like an engine, what the hell? It kind of reminds me of an intake manifold. Maybe it is, but it looks different. I'm not going to even try to pull this up. I already know I have to pry it. You know, this is surprisingly easy. Everything on this car is like so easy. I think it's loose enough I can wiggle it. Yeah, okay, it's a little heavy. Got it. Come on. Well, I jumped the gun. I really wasn't expecting that. I'm thinking once I remove that intake manifold cover look-alike, it was going to be flat because I'm thinking this is going to be like my GT350 where you remove the intake manifold, it's flat, and then you put that end plate on it and then you're good to go. So that's what I was thinking was gonna happen here, but I wasn't expecting that V canyon there. Plus I didn't have to remove that. So I'm gonna put that cover back on, and also, everything went wrong. And also that end plate didn't fit, so I need to buy a universal one. The intake manifold and the universal plate are on. Now that I look at it, I'm thinking, I don't think I'm going to take everything together because I'm not sure how much that lift plate can hold. It says 1,000 pounds. I'm not really sure how much the engine weighs and then plus the transmission, so I'm going to do it separately. So take the engine out without the transmission. I already disconnected, I think pretty much everything, which wasn't a lot really. Like this, that was connected to the alternator right here. There was some ground line in the back. And I mean, other than that, I didn't really have to do much because there wasn't really much connected to it. I know, like I've said before, that there's a lot of things, or probably quite a few things missing. Even so, let's say nothing was missing. I don't think there's much to this engine as far as connections like these other modern cars. I removed all of these bolts that attach the transmission to the engine. So one of them was missing, and then the other ones were just on there like pretty loose. So I'm not sure if that's supposed to be like that by design. So after that, we need to remove the bolts for the engine mounts, and then we should be ready to go to just pull this engine up. Before doing that, I was going to remove the starter first, but I'm also taking a look here, and I think I'm also going to remove the headers before removing the engine. Two interesting things. So I removed one side of the header, and looking online and looking at these, it turns out that these are not stock. The second thing is the spark plugs. Let me show you what I mean. This is the passenger side of the headers. So these appear to be long tube headers, which means that this car must have sounded so nice if it would have ever turned on. But right now it's irrelevant to me because, you know, never got to hear it. So these are from the passenger side bank. So two of these look brand new and then the other two look used. So that's an issue right there. These are the spark plugs on the driver's side. All of these spark plugs look brand new. So this makes sense why it didn't start and it was never going to start. Makes perfect sense why it didn't start, it was never going to, and then those one or two few times that it kind of sounded like it was going to start, it just sounded like crap because it was just on those two cylinders. I really don't know, but I mean, there's no sense in even trying to figure it out. No, the thing about these headers is that some of these bolts you can use the cordless ratchet, but the others you have to use a wrench just because it doesn't really fit on here. But I already saved you the pain from watching me use a wrench because that took forever. Let's take some bets to see if the headers fall as I'm lifting the car. I guess that was 50-50. Let's see if this one comes off easily. I'm thinking it's probably hanging in there by a thread. Guess not. And it's off. Oh, that was honestly a bit of a pain to get to that bolt. Okay. Oh, a lot of dirt and dust. It's heavy. What's in my mouth? Finally. I think this is the last thing needed before getting the transmission down, at least something that's in the way. I don't know if these lines are going to just like spill with fluid. So I don't know if they're clogged up or I don't know if it's dry, but I guess I'll find out once I take these out. I guess not wrong. The transmission is now off. This did take a bit, and this is definitely a two-person job. So Chris and I went ahead and took care of that. You really have to be kind of like playing around, lifting the car, then lowering it just a bit, and then having it centered here on this jack, but it's off. Also, this line was a little bit in the way, and not only that, lifting and raising the car, but one person needs to be holding the crankshaft bolt, and then the other person needs to be removing the converter bolts. So there's really nothing holding this engine. It could go literally straight up. Like I'm looking at it, there's nothing blocking it. Originally, I was going to remove the bolts for the engine mount here from underneath, but now that I removed the transmission, see, it's a little rocky. So I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm just gonna lower it and then remove those bolts from the top. But first, I'm going to hook up the engine hoist and then get those bolts. Just when you think everything is going right, there's always something. So this is like the last step just to lift up the engine. And of course, this engine hoist is not long enough. And this is the furthest that it goes. So I'm thinking, oh, and by the way, I don't have another one. If not, then I wouldn't be here. I'm thinking maybe I can put it sideways. I don't know if it'll fit. I don't know if it's wise enough, but I figure can't hurt to try. Just needs to go up. So it's either the side method works or I have to purchase a heavy duty engine hoist, and then that would delay me because there's nowhere here that I can get it locally. So I would have to order it, wait, assemble it, and I really don't want to wait that long. I really wanted this side method to work because I really didn't want to do everything that's involved with removing the front bumper. So it's not only this piece, I need to remove this, I need to remove this, I need to remove this bottom piece. So a lot is involved. So I tried it this way, and immediately as soon as I was putting it, and by the way, I removed the tire, I thought this is not going to work because look at that angle. It's already at an angle, so it can't come up straight. And not only that, but it'll also start bending the fender. So that's not going to work. Time to do it the right way from the front. Kidding, I'm actually not going to remove anything here from the front side. I was able to find the only heavy duty engine lift in Harbor Freight out of all the Harbor Freights here locally, but it is a little modified. And by modified, I mean this top part is part of the new heavy duty engine lift, and then everything else all the way down is part of the one that I already had. And like I mentioned before, just assembling the new one was going to take a lot of time. And honestly, I just want to get this engine out of the way. It's been too long already. And also this engine is really not that heavy. So this setup should work fine. But again, Don't try this at home. This is not ideal and it's very uncomfortable because now I have to deal with this Milwaukee with my non-dominant hand, which is my left. To remove this bolt, I think next time I will remove the engine first. Oh my gosh. Okay, I got it.
I thought the passenger side was bad. This is worse. It's definitely tight here. And then this stupid oil filter seems like it's in the way, but no, I can access that bolt, but it's just limited space. Okay, I think I got it. Oh, yes.
Okay, I double checked everything and I'm pretty sure that there's nothing connected to it, hopefully. So now I just need to start raising it little by little, which is gonna be a little bit tricky because I kind of need to hold it in place just so it doesn't start coming forward. Then once it's up, then I can just keep raising it. I have my hand here in place just in case it does, but it feels like it's just going up. This is so easy. So it's basically just being supported by the lift now. It's just up in the air. So I just need to get it out of the car. Just going to lift it a little bit higher. I think this is high enough now to clear the radiator support. So now I'm just going to pull this hoist back. It cleared it. It feels so far away. I'm so glad that I ended up working out. Look at this engine, it's out. But now, you know, looking at it, it kind of looks like a little bit small. It looks like a mini V8. Not that I remember all of the engines that I took out, but I do remember that the Shelby one was like huge, at least compared to this. And by the way, don't worry about this lift. This whole Frankenstein engine lift hoist setup is not going to stay like that. I feel like I started with the biggest thing and now it's out of the way, which is the engine. But now that this is done, we have a whole ton of other projects because this was its own thing. The car is its own thing. The interior is its own thing. So we can now get started on all of that. So what that means is that there's going to be a crap ton of videos on the Mustang, and we haven't even gotten started with the Camaro. So there's going to be a crap ton of videos with the Camaro too. I'm so excited. I hope you guys are too. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.